The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Step outside of your comfort zone. See the world with a whole new perspective. Join us and experience the unexplained on the Paranormal View.
And welcome everybody right here to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. I want to thank everyone for being with us tonight, those here in the chat room and those listening from around the world. We appreciate all of you. Tonight we've got a great show lined up. It's getting close to the end of the year, and we're just kind of like going to have some fun tonight. Tonight we have with us Barbara Duncan.
Hello, everyone.
And we got, I think, Jeff. Can you with us now? No, still no sound on Jeff. Well,
he's not back yet.
Yeah, no, he's not back yet? Well, maybe he'll be able to get on when he gets back in. We have a great guest tonight with us. Also has a show on ParaX. We have Tabby Cat Gasch with us. Oh, good.
Hold on a second. Doggies and kitties are.
Yeah, they're going to
fun.
it. Yeah, that's what happens when you have all them.
Yeah.
Says Jeff Skype is like, nah. Yeah,
No.
It does that a lot, I'm telling you. So with troubles with the connecting
Sorry about that, guys.
That's
One of my
right.
cats decided to jump up onto something that he shouldn't have, and my husband yelled.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Things like that happen, I would assume very much. So
well,
Yeah.
when they know that you've already bought their Christmas presents, they really don't care
no,
anymore.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we've got 2 stockings hung up for our cats, and she's already bought stuff and got them stuffed in there.
Well, yeah. Just no catnip, because that's a bad idea.
Yeah,
No, we
I
don't.
found that out.
We don't do that anymore.
A really bad idea.
So we got with us tonight Tabby Cat Gasch, and we wanted to talk with her just about all things about Christmas and some funny things and good things, and we had her come on for tonight. So want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. I know you've been having a lot of problems, bar fights, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, no, not exactly a bar fight. I just had a run-in with a wall.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it, right?
Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And I now have a black eye.
So,
Unfortunately, I'm the one that lost.
so Barbara,
Well, you gotta just try to, convince everybody it was a bar fight and stick with it.
Yeah, but if it was a bar fight, I'd have to say that I won.
Well, true. You just look at him and say, "Look at the other guy." You should
Yeah,
see
that's
the other
it.
guy.
The other guy looks worse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that happens.
so
Or, you got that last Sony PlayStation that everybody's after. Beat everybody in the process.
Yep. And I'm short enough that I was able to get down on the floor, go between everybody's legs, and
Yep.
squeeze into places that nobody else could. So, yep.
That's how it works.
so
Got to be creative.
I know that the COVID has gotten pretty rough around the United States in the past month again. So what's it like out there on the West Coast?
We're back in kind of stay-at-home order, and there's very few hospital beds left open, ICU beds. Some places are completely out, so everybody's kind of hunkering down for the long haul.
Do you think a lot of that is caused because people
By
thought it
idiots not wearing masks?
Right. Because people thought, well, you know, it's lighting up now. They're opening up restaurants and stuff, and they just start running around without any masks. We had a lot of that. They've got signs on a lot of the stores says to come in this store, you must have a mask on. I was in Walmart the other day, and a woman that was in front of me in line to pay didn't have a mask on. And I'm trying to figure out, well, now, how did she get in the store without wearing a mask?
No, wore it in and took it off.
Well, they got people right there at the doors.
That's what they do.
Making sure, you know. So, I don't know. Me, I wear one. I've been wearing one ever since this stuff started.
Keep wearing.
Same here.
Yeah. So
it's going to be low-key Christmas, I think, and holidays for everybody, and that's fine.
Yeah, I've already talked to my son and them. We might try and just meet for a little bit. Here's your guys' presents. Here's ours. Blah blah, and you know, have a good Christmas. So we
talk to our relatives on the phone, and periodically, you know, I'll video Skype with, you know, my niece, and so, you know, we stay in touch with our relatives, but we all want to be safe, so we're taking as many precautions as we can and just staying home and enjoying our company, and that's about it.
That's the same.
Break out the board games and video. Yeah.
I mean, Ray and I play cribbage, and you know, he plays another few games on the computer and everything, and so do I. But the one thing that we play all the time is cribbage. Wow. It's a lot of fun.
I don't think I've ever played that.
I played it twice. Oh. I can't remember anymore how to do it.
Did Jeff ever get back on?
I'm not sure. Did I?
Oh, yes.
Yay.
All right.
Yay.
You are.
I don't know. And between launching Skype the first time, then rebooting and launching Skype when I rebooted the computer, it says, oh, we're going to reinstall Skype. I'm like, oh, of course you need to update. Maybe that was the issue. I don't know.
Could be, yeah. It was trying to download the update. Yeah.
Because I did mine also right before I started getting everything ready. It said,
oh, okay. Well,
Skype has a new version.
Said, by the way. Hi, Tabby.
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing okay. It's getting brisky cold down here. I'm okay with low temperatures. I just don't like breezes and wind. Cuts right through me.
So what's the temperature where you are?
It 47.
That's chilly.
No,
wow.
that
that's
can't
chilly
be right.
for
Wait
you.
a minute. No, I've got 69. Sorry,
69.
There you go.
Yeah. My clock, I can tell it to go. It also does weather. So I have 3 cities. I have here in Hollywood, Sherman Oaks, where my rental box is, where I get my mail matter, and my brother and mother's Verona, New Jersey. So sometimes I'll go to script, I'll go to swipe down, and it'll shift saying, oh, I guess you want to see what Verona's doing. I'm like, no, there's no way to really lock it so that I can change it manually. It just decides to flip on its own.
We've had a nice couple of days here in Maryland in the 60s, low 60s. But of course, from what I understand, the temperature is supposed to drop down again. And they are calling for the possibility of maybe some snow next week. Now, I would prefer to have snow for Christmas, but that's not going to happen. We haven't had a white Christmas here in Maryland since 2002.
Wow.
Back in New Jersey, it usually would start snowing in late January, early February.
Yeah.
Although
That's
in
pretty
my
much what it is
childhood,
here.
in my childhood once, we actually had snow on Halloween. My brother and I were actually out trick or treating with it was very not blurry. What's the word?
Blustery.
No, that's the wind. When you've only got like a little smattering of snow.
Flurries.
Flurry. Thank you with an F. There you go.
Yeah.
Flurry. That's how my glasses are doing. I need to get new prescriptions.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
Well, it's not that bad. It's just not like my vision is causing you aphasia or anything.
So tonight,
And it's odd because the weather patterns are changing. It used to be there was a lot of snow in England, and it doesn't really snow a lot there much anymore. So
no.
Well, that's because Dickens isn't there anymore. So
true, yeah.
Wow.
Well, that
True.
and the Industrial Revolution smog is gone.
oh,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, that probably caused or helped a lot with it. Yeah. So.
Well, people don't realize the London fog really wasn't fog at all.
No.
Yeah.
Why can't I breathe in this?
It got kind of bad.
Yeah.
But
The
there's-
real
yeah,
reason Jack first stopped is he just choked to death. And
Yeah, probably. And there's monoliths. They're outdoing us in monolith sightings. We got to stop this.
you
Oh,
know,
it's so stupid. Somebody did it as a
wrong
gag,
color too.
and then the next thing you know, they're showing up all over the place. And I saw a post on Facebook where somebody says, "Oh, look, I found a monolith in my house," and what they had done was just taken a piece of metal
Lego or something.
and put it in their toilet.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
no.
dropped it
Oh,
up
you
in
can
their
Photoshop
toilet and say,
that.
"Look where it showed up."
that's what I figured they're doing is a lot of it's Photoshop because people can't get that stuff in there and set it up without somebody seeing.
Well, the ones in England are actually, and some of them are really well done and tasteful, are real. But and some of it's really nice artwork. It's the really crappy stuff that needs to stop.
Yeah, like when you can see the rivets and the weld,
Yep.
weld markings and everything. Yeah.
And you
But some
touch
of
it, you
these
don't start
areas that they-
evolving.
Yeah. I mean, most of these places where they're supposedly finding them, there's just no way that they can put something that deep into the ground and not be noticed. And some of that area has nothing but rocks. So you're looking at taking a great deal of time to dig a hole.
Yeah,
and
but
they're
take
saying,
into
"Oh, well,
account
we don't
that.
know how it got here, but you can see the dig marks."
Yeah, but you got the Georgia stones that sort of popped up all but overnight. No one knows how those showed up.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
the same
yeah.
people that did the crop circles. What do you expect? It's the same people with the crop circles
Could be.
and the cattle mutilations. That's that's the same people.
Could be.
They're going along and just dropping things down and having a lot of fun with people.
On the other
At least
hand,
that's
it's a
my theory.
nice distraction.
It is. Gives people something else to look at, something
Yeah.
else to focus on,
And
Yeah.
kind
which
of
is
we need
fine.
that. Yeah, we need that.
As
So it's
long
fine to look at
as long as whoever's setting those up is wearing a mask, we're okay.
Yeah.
And that'll be the.
Well, with it,
Go ahead, Barbara.
Not me.
Oh,
actually, it
Tabby?
was me.
Okay.
I was just going to say that a few days ago when I was talking to you and I told you that I had an interesting story to tell,
Uh-huh.
that had to do with Christmas.
Right.
So
And
I didn't know when you maybe want me to go ahead and read it to you.
Go right ahead, because that's what we're talking
Okay.
about tonight.
All right. Now, this is a night before Christmas, believe it or not. It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, everyone was hungover, including the mouse. Elves were being hung by the chimney with malice, in hopes that they would be rescued by sweet little Alice. The rugrats were dancing on the top of their beds, while the odd mushroom appetizers played havoc in their heads. The old lady in her jammies and me in my Speedo had just decided that we would go get our freak on. When out in the parking lot, we heard a loud racket. I jumped from the bed and grabbed for the hatchet. Over to the window, I stumbled and thrashed, and I tripped on the phone cord and fell with a crash. The streetlight was glaring on the blacktop below, which caused my new car to shine and glow. Then I blinked my eyes and wondered what the because there was an old sled being pulled by bears having fits. The driver was drunk, who stammered and dashed, and I knew in a heartbeat that he would end up in a crash. The bears stopped fussing, but their direction was lame, and the driver cussed and shouted and called them by name. Now Alex, now Marvin, now Bob and Stephen. On Henry, on Bill, on Arnold and William. Make it to the porch or make it to the wall. I don't give a rat's which one, just don't let us fall. Just then a gust of wind blew them with force, and the sled and the bears were nearly blown off course. But they managed to land on top of the house, heavily full of toys, and they ran over that poor mouse. I heard the thumping as they landed on the roof, so I grabbed my cell phone for a photo as proof. I fell, bumped my head, and sat on the bed. Then that drunk driver came down our chimney, and he was really well fed. He was dressed in a prison suit, and all he did was mutter, and the look on his face was enough to make you shudder. A large sack of something was held behind his back, and I couldn't help but ask him, "Hey, what you got in that sack, Jack?" His eyes, they were beady, his chin looked weak, his teeth were all gnarly, and he hadn't bathed in a week. His smile was menacing and caused me to fold, and the stubble of the beard was many days old. The remains of a toothpick were held tight in his teeth, and the smell of his breath circled his head like a reef. His face was real fat, and he had a gigantic belly that moved like a tub of lard and made sick sounds like squished jelly. His sandals were worn out and smelled like old fish, and I said, "Phew, dude, take a bath. That's what I wish." The look in his eye and the twitch of his head made me grab for the hatchets with feelings of dread. He didn't say a word, but went about doing his thing and leaving all kinds of odd packages, then turned with a swing. Then reaching up and picking his nose, he gave a final glare, then back up that chimney he rose. He waddled to his sled and cussed to his bears, and they all flew away and left me with no fears. And then I heard him bellow as he flew out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all. Now where's the damn headlights?"
Maybe that's why it crashed.
Yeah, I made that up sometime back. Couldn't help it.
You know, I was on there, excuse me, Don Allison wrote a new book with, I guess it's Christmas songs that he wrote.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote it to the tunes of a lot of the other songs.
Right.
I was reading a couple of them. They seem to be pretty good. And he's got it titled that I was almost banned on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of his stuff was pretty funny. I think that's part of what inspired me to write this one.
So since we're talking about Christmas, how do you feel that Christmas this season, or the Christmas season has changed for this year?
Oh, goodness. Not just not being able to go and see your relatives, but it's a sad thing that with all of the violence, the political tension, all of the correctness that people have been requesting, the changing of history, tearing things down, changing names, the entire climate of the world has changed so much that right now I think Christmas to many people is the only real holiday that can either do one of two things. It can either make them extremely sad or it can make them extremely happy. Being, grateful for the things that they have, having their health, having a home. And yet there are other people that are out of a home right now. They're having to live in shelters and everything because they were put out of their homes or their apartments. And for them, Christmas is kind of sparse and rather sad. And it has to do with everything that's happened over the last, well, not just this year, but I'd say it's been building up over the last couple. And then the pandemic, unfortunately, really didn't help any because it put people out of work. It put people out of their homes. People are angry. People are frustrated. And it's really gotten to people mentally, emotionally. So for me, not being able to see my friends and my relatives here at Christmas time, I just made it a point to decorate my home for myself. Not just because I wanted to make me smile, but it also, for me, represented honoring the memory of my family that are no longer here. The ones that loved Christmas, the ones that we used to enjoy getting together with. And so for a lot of people, and it's unfortunate, seem to think that those people who put up lights outside and everything are being a little frivolous. But for me, no, I put up a little tree outside. And even though I'm on a dead-end street, on the very last house on a dead-end street, you can see my front porch from a couple of different neighborhoods. So if people are looking out their window or if they're taking a jog around the neighborhood and they're seeing that little tree on the front porch, if it brings them a smile, I'm happy for it. I'm glad that's why it's there. So for me, I don't think people should stop being a part of the holiday season, no matter what it is that you're celebrating, no matter what holiday that you're celebrating. Just for yourself and the memory of those around you, go ahead and go through with it. Go ahead and continue to do that holiday, continue to do that tradition, carry it on, because the moment that you stop doing things that are normal, that's when things start falling apart. Because then next year, you might not want to do it at all, and that would be sad. So, don't force yourself, but, just look at it that it's something that you really should be doing for your own mental health. And even if those people that are homeless, that have to live in shelters, if they can see other decorations and everything that makes them sad, certainly. But if they can get something, to put up or to give or to make them smile, that's not frivolous. Just do it. So yeah, it's changed. The whole climate has changed. It's sad. And I hope next year is a whole lot better. I've got my fingers, toes, eyes, and everything else crossed for it.
Kind of makes you wonder how ghosts are seeing this stuff and how they're reacting to it. I know empathics obviously are going to sense everything, but obviously, and it would be interesting to see if there are paranormal investigations that happen over the holiday season, what type of EVPs people get and the energy that seems to be around at the time.
Oh, certainly. I just finished watching a video that Pat McCormick sent me. It was when he did a day at Fort McHenry here in Baltimore. And while there weren't a great number of people around and the fort itself was closed, because of COVID, he still walked around the grounds. And he went into a couple of places that most people usually don't. And Pat always has his recorder with him. And most of the recordings, most of everything that he got were from spirits that just seemed to want to talk. They were happy that somebody was there and were listening. And I've discovered that myself, that because of COVID and not being able to go certain places, there are some spirits that really look forward to interacting with people. It's something that they enjoy, and they miss it. So for Pat and some of his audio clips, it's incredible. And it was very sad, though, because you could hear that these spirits were like, because he started to walk away from someplace, and they were like, wait a minute, where are you going? Like,
Yeah, we
wow,
want to talk.
they didn't want him to leave.
Yeah. I would.
So I think spirits are
Kind of
looking at
makes
it
you
that
wonder
way.
about the family fights and poltergeists right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
I really.
Well,
Well, I
I'm
think
curious. All the
most of-
people that are together and don't really want to be because everybody's fatigued out. So, there's bound to be a lot of pent up energy in there somewhere. I'm surprised
yeah.
that reports of poltergeists haven't
Huh.
picked up.
Yeah.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah. But how are you going to tell the difference between a poltergeist and a 12-year-old adolescent girl going through puberty isn't throwing a hissy fit because their mother told them to turn off their cell phone?
Yeah, I also don't believe that it's all adolescent 12-year-old girls.
No,
A
I
lot
don't
of it
either,
is
but
a lot of it's just pent up energy, and yeah, it would be interesting. Well, it's also, how do you tell the energy of a poltergeist versus somebody that was hiding around the corner and just threw a pot at you and
exactly.
Catch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'll just make it look.
I get
Make it
a
look
big
like an
laugh
accident.
off those programs that they show. You can actually see the damn strings
Oh, sure.
on some of these things.
Oh, they.
And the
I-
hosts are like, oh my gosh, did you see this? It's opening on its own.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this thing just went flying across the room. I'm sorry, but if you look close enough, you can actually see a reflection off of probably a nylon cord.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously, folks? And they expect me to believe that? No.
No.
Well, I watch a lot of YouTube compilation videos, and sometimes the narrators will say, I'm pretty, there could have been somebody doing this or that, but there was one where they had this couple who was being haunted in their apartment, I think in England, and they had a wide shot of the room. And the guy's asleep on the couch. On the other side of the room, like this teddy bear sails off the wall and goes across the room in such a way that even if someone had a string, it shouldn't have been going straight as long as it was. And I was like, okay, that's some impressive force if it was being thrown from the something at that point. But yeah, normally you would think it would start to fall before it left the frame, but yeah, it went sailing right off frame.
Yeah, but you
And I was
also
like,
you also got to wonder how a cameraman puts a camera on something like that just so they can follow it across the room.
they didn't follow it across the room. It was a static cam set up night vision while the guy was asleep.
But it,
Why was that? Because he had seen something before or suspected
They had
something?
they've been having numerous experiences and going on often while they're asleep. And after the thing goes sailing across the room, you can actually see the covers over his shoulders being pulled down uniformly, not like, a set of strings doing it. Something they literally, and I thought, if that's with a string, that's the best magic I've ever seen. It was extremely like, I'm glad, if it was me, I'm glad I slept through that as well. Because I would have been like, I don't think that's one of my cats doing that.
Wow. Well, you got to wonder that all these places, the big box places and stuff where normally you would have groups coming in all the time, I'm sure that it's been very sparse of people actually being able to go in to investigate. So you wonder how spirits in those places are reacting to it too. Uh, are they actually resting now that nobody's coming in to bother them, or are they missing the people that does come in and interact with them?
Well, here's the other
to
thing.
scare.
Yeah. Here's the other thing to that too is holidays usually were the most emotional and energy generating times of the year. So even if you're looking for residual energy, you'd think that some of these places with holiday parties, you'd start to pick up on that residual holiday party,
Uh-huh.
right?
I think so.
So it'd be interesting to see some of these places if you went back and just left a recorder for a while, if you'd pick up on any sort of holiday festivities just as a residual EVP.
Yeah, I think it would be almost the same way as these places that are set up for a Halloween funhouse, and with all of the energy from people getting scared and freaked out and screaming and everything else. And if the location is genuinely haunted, after these everything is over and done with, the energy in those places is ramped up, and you're more likely to get more audio and possibly some photos and everything because of the energy that was left over from all the people that came in. So yeah, why wouldn't it do that around Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and Christmas and Easter and all those other when you've got a different kind of emotion?
Yeah. There was a place, and I can't remember where it is. I was on one of these shows on television. There's a Christmas room somewhere, and I can't remember if it was a sanatorium or where it was, but they left it in place, and it still had the Christmas tree up and toys around it. And I wish I could remember where it was.
Did you call it a sanatorium?
No, sanatorium.
Oh, it was a sanatorium. I was like, did she say sanatorium? It would have made sense, but
Yes, a sanatorium.
that would definitely be a different way of, if you have one of those little strip malls where it's all Christmas related and they call it Santa's workshop or something like that. Calling it a sanatorium would be definitely a crowd get your attention. Santa's
That's
Village.
cute.
Yeah.
Or a Santana.
Well, it might have just been a place for ex-Santa Claus, you might say.
Well, you figure that there has to be a rest home for Elvis impersonators. Why not a rest home for
You'd
Santa
think.
Claus?
Yeah.
Santa's. Yeah.
There should be, but I don't think there is.
Well,
That would be hilarious, though.
It would be, actually.
Christmas is supposed to be a happy time, like sharing with families, get-togethers, and meals, and just unwrapping, exchanging gifts, and just having a good time. This year, it's not. I mean, it can be a nice time, but it's not going to be the way it normally is, because families are not going to be able to get together. I mean, some will, but generally most won't, since it's even gotten worse. So, but you can still have a good time with Christmas. You can always talk to them on the phone, share different things, and plan maybe for some time in the spring to have a big get-together after this COVID is settled down. Hopefully it'll be settled down. But
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing. I know my own family, especially my husband's family, his one nephew is in the service, and he's in Alaska currently. And he was supposed to come home for the holidays. And of course, he can't do it now. So this will be the first Christmas that he's been in the service that he hasn't been able to spend with his father. And it's kind of sad.
Well, if he throws some,
But they have to be careful.
if he throws some confections around, he might come up with some chocolate mousse.
Hmm. Wow.
Actually, he says he's seen a few of them walking around up there.
All right.
Well, there's some really nice. I mean, think of it this way: there was a huge solar flare this week, so there's aurora borealis displays up there. I mean, it'd be great to take a photograph there and share it.
Did you get to see
To do.
all the shooting stars or whatever you want to call them? I guess was it
No,
like-
because in California, every time there's a celestial event, it's cloudy.
Well, it was cloudy here too,
Yeah.
so we didn't
Or
get to
it's like-
see anything. I'm just hoping that on the 21st it is not cloudy here. I definitely want to go out and see this event.
Yeah.
And does this only take place over one night, or is it going to be for a couple of nights?
No. They're together longer than that, but they get closer and closer, so that the actual conjunction is on the 21st.
So it could
Yeah.
could be starting
you-
going on now if you actually look.
Yeah, you'll see them really close together
Oh,
now.
okay. All right.
They're just not as close together as they will be on the 21st.
Now it sounds better.
Yeah.
So going
Yeah.
with Christmas, it's a time to remember when you've been with families and stuff. So what I prepared for us tonight, and those in the chat room can also do this. Christmas is for kids. Now you guys have to go back in time. When did you stop believing in Santa Claus?
Who the hell ever believed in Santa Claus? I'm sorry.
Me.
No.
I am sure that little kids did up until us.
Nope.
Never, huh? Boy, I did.
I was probably about 7 or 8 by the time I stopped actually believing in Santa himself as being the one that was bringing the presents. But up until that time, oh yeah. I mean, there was always gifts under the tree that had, from mom and dad or from grandma and grandpa or something like that. But then there was these others that were under the tree with no name on them, as to who they were from. And we were always told that, they came from Santa Claus. And when I found out that there really wasn't a Santa Claus, and it was explained, well, Santa is everybody.
The spirit of
He's, yep. Yeah, but when I found out that there was no Easter Bunny, I cried. I was very upset that there was no Easter Bunny. Yeah, that made me mad. And it hurt because, the Easter, I would put out the carrots and everything, and I would go downstairs and find my basket, and the carrot would be half chewed on and everything, or completely gone. And I was always expecting to wake up in the middle of the night and go downstairs and see a big 6-foot rabbit like Harvey. That's what I really expected to see. And when I found out there was no Easter Bunny, I was more upset about that than I was about Santa Claus.
Huh. I don't think I ever believed in the Easter Bunny. It was just a nice little tale, but I still wanted my Easter basket.
Of course. And those awful jelly beans that your parents would hide all over the house, and then we wouldn't find them all. And then months later, the parents would, especially the mother, would be going along with a vacuum cleaner, and she'd pull them out, and they'd have fuzz and mold and everything else. So,
So
out here, you just follow the ant trails.
yeah, that's true too.
So was any of you just the only child, or did you have brothers and sisters?
I had a single sister.
And I had a single brother.
I had a younger brother.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if it really, even if you had an older sibling, whether or not they told you, there's no such thing as Santa Claus. I don't think anybody does.
Well, I was the older one, but I never said anything to my younger brother that they wasn't a Santa Claus. And I was a few years older than him, so I guess I'm.
Well, I mean, having seen some of the photographs of old Santa Clauses, you have to really wonder, because at some point a kid is going to go, why don't they all look alike?
Right, right. Or how can he be in so many places at one time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen pictures of some Easter bunnies that I would run screaming the other direction. They look terrifying.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
of them were just, oh my
I
goodness.
I was fortunate for one Easter season. I actually was a mall Easter rabbit, but it was a proper, accurate-looking Beatrix Potter Peter Rabbit costume.
Oh,
So it looked like a legit rabbit. It wasn't one of those nightmare fuel things that are all white with the terrifying face. No, it was a little round bunny face, and it was great. What was funny was I almost didn't get hired over the weirdest bit of sexism I've ever heard, because they were under the impression that women could be in the outfit longer than men, and they say, well, you know, that's what I thought. I thought, what? I'm an actor. I've done stuff in prosthetics and costumes. There should be no problem. And they said it would be like half-hour shifts. But there were times they left me in there for 45 minutes to an hour. And I didn't even know it because time changes when you're in sensory deprivation, which is pretty much what it was. And, you know, the kids would sit there and you'd take their photo and you pat them on the head and off they go. I didn't have to say anything, you know, I got to be mute, but I got to gesticulate if one child was really terrified because there was essentially this, you know, what appeared to be a 6-foot-tall rodent. And I just put my hands on the side of my thing, like, you know, and it kind of embarrassed, ooh, I can't believe they're scared kind of a thing. And which helped calm the kid down. So, but yeah, But they never came back saying, "Wow, you're better than most of the, you know, the girls. You were able to hang out there." The one thing I had to do was stay awake because there's the buildup of carbon dioxide. It was putting me to sleep outside.
Sounds like a pretty unsafe costume, actually.
It was, yeah.
Put an oxygen tank in there.
But at least it looked like Peter Rabbit with
Yeah.
the blue shirt and everything. So I thought, no problem. As long as I don't look like I'm going to give kids, you know, years of therapy down the line, I'm good.
Wow.
I never liked to sit on Santa's lap to have my picture taken every year. I don't know what it was when my parents would take us, you know, out to a shopping center or a mall or, you know, to a large department store where there was a Santa Claus. For some reason, I just did not like the idea of going up there. I didn't like it. I wasn't necessarily afraid of him because that was the big jolly old elf that brought me presents, but I didn't want to go up there and tell him things for some reason. I don't know why. So I did not have my picture taken with Santa Claus until 1989. Yeah.
Okay.
That's when I finally decided I was going to
Wow.
have my picture taken with Santa Claus. And my mother did the same thing. She and I were out shopping. And I jokingly said to her, you know, hey, did you ever have your picture taken with Santa Claus? And she says, no, as I was growing up, no, we didn't really have them. So I said, well, why don't you have your picture taken? She says, well, I'll tell you what, I will if you will, because you never would. So I'm like, okay, fine. I had my picture taken. She had hers taken. And it was absolutely something. I got a big kick out of it. I really did. And I still have both of those photos.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like
there
a
was only
seasonal confession. You know,
Yeah,
you get
really.
up there. Are you a good little girl? Did you do bad things? Come on, Cat, tell me.
Santa slides a little thing across, like, tell me your sins, my son.
Tell me your
Yeah,
stuff.
I think that's the reason I didn't want to go up there, because I knew
Well,
perfectly well that I couldn't tell that man the truth.
Oh, yeah. And somebody explained that Santa is this very authoritarian figure. And I do remember one year where my brother and I were just absolutely terrified of the concept of sitting on his lap. and not, and it wasn't like oh, it's Santa, or oh, he's going to know. There was just something terrifying about the experience we did not want to have. So that was like 1 year, but other years, yeah, we had no problem with it. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe we had, it's like collective unconscious that, he was really Krampus in disguise.
You were going to get the cold in the stocking.
More like the switches and the bags and the chains.
I know.
Well, that's just like I said. It's seasonal. It's seasonal confession time. Yeah. Really.
Wow.
Shoot your eye out.
Which is true. Yeah. I know back when I was about 3 or 4, something like that, my uncle would always dress up like Santa Claus. Of course, I wouldn't know that's who it was, but he would come to the house. And matter of fact, I've got pictures of him in the house with me. And I think I had a fire truck pedal car and had a ladder and all, and he'd be holding the ladder and I'd be climbing up the ladder. And I got pictures.
Wow.
So I had to be good, but I wasn't. I was probably a very mean little kid, I tell you.
Well, my father was the middle of 7 children, and at the Christmas parties, the youngest, Donald, would dress up as Santa and give out the presents under the tree to the different family members. And we always thought it was interesting because Penny was the sister. She was absolute sweetheart. Everyone loved her. And she always tended to get the most presents. And Donald had this weird cadence that he spoke when he gave out, to Robert, to Bill, and he would always just, to Penny. And my brother and I always thought this was funny. So we always make reference to, to Penny, the way it's sort of like that sketch where they dub bears or something like that. It sort of reminded me of that.
Oh, I can't remember the actor's name. Who does that, Jeff?
Yeah.
I've heard of the sketch. I've never seen it, but I'm aware of its existence. Dub bears. So.
Wow.
Well,
one thing I miss.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Barbara. I miss Christmas cards. We do still get a few Christmas cards from some people, and I still send a few out, but I remember so much growing up getting Christmas cards, and my mother would always string them across this big, huge mirror that we had in the living room. So she would tie them up on the end of, tie a string on the end of the mirror, and then she would drape the Christmas cards across it. And if there was enough of them, they went all the way across the room and over top of the door. And then one year she just took the huge ribbon, red ribbon, and put that over top of the kitchen door and made it look like a big present with a bow in the middle of it. And all of the Christmas cards ended up on that door that one year. And then slowly over time, people got out of that habit. It's a combination of people moving away, losing touch with each other, and of course, spending 56 cents to send a card out now. That's insane. So if you've got 20 people, that's $10 or, but if you've got like 40 people like I used to, I certainly don't really have a whole lot of $20-some to spare right now. So unfortunately, a lot of my relatives are not getting cards. All I'm going to do is to send them a virtual card, like on Facebook or in a chat message or something like that. And it's sad. It started out with, like 40-some cards, then it dwindled down to 20. And then now I'm lucky if we get maybe 10. And those are the same ones that I, send back. Because I figure, well, if they're going to send one to me, I'm certainly going to send one to them. Mm-hmm. And they're usually relatives and very close friends and that sort of thing. So, and you don't send packages too much out anymore. You
No.
know, Amazon Prime, FedEx, UPS. All you have to do is get online now, order something, and have them deliver it for you.
Right.
You know, it
But
used to be that
don't-
you would take the time, you know, to put everything together and wrap it up and take it to the post office, and it would have your own personal little touches on it now. And now everybody gets presents in the mail with a card that says, "We thank you for your order, Amazon Prime." You
Well,
know,
I think
excuse me?
can't you actually tell? I know that it says, "Is this a gift?" And you can select that. And I think I don't know if it's
You can
only
gift
through
wrap.
December. Yeah, you can get a gift wrapped, and the receipt won't be in the package.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's true.
I used to do that when I did drop.
guess I'm old-fashioned. I like to
Oh,
be
same
able to
here.
handle the things before they're sent out. You know, I
I
want to
bet-
look at them
You know,
and, you know, put my own personal private note in there with my own handwriting and everything. That's
can
just
send
the
that.
way I see it, right?
That's what email is for.
Well,
Yeah,
Dear
yeah,
recipient.
you know,
Mhm.
since postage has gone up, Christmas cards has gone up, a lot of people that, like us, both of us are retired now. And when you start trying to mail a lot of stuff, including just Christmas cards, it starts costing a lot of money now. I mean, back when I was young, a stamp was what, 3-4 cents, something like that. And now they're way up there, what, 40 cents a piece or
That's
more?
why-
Well,
That's why
the Pony Express
folks-
runs cheap.
The Pony
Henry.
Express run cheap. Huh?
That's why a lot of us grabbed those forever stamps back in the day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I still
Yeah,
have a
that's
handful
what
of
I did.
those.
Well, most of the stamps are forever now.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but these are non-denominational, meaning
Right.
they don't have an amount on them.
right.
They just recognize, oh, they bought them when it was like 30 cents and now it's 50,
Now you can use them.
but they're still valid.
Yeah.
What I miss was my Chicago friend Bob Colby. He would send me holiday cards each year. Hasn't been doing it the last few years, but what he would do is he would select a card that he could augment. So it'd be like having this wonderful winter wonderland and snow stay, but there'd be a UFO up in the sky or something. But my all-time favorite was a piece of artwork that on the back it said Santa's gift, and the original artwork was Santa is reaching towards a stocking to fill it with stuff, and he doesn't see that behind him is a child putting a kitten into his bag. So the concept is Santa's gift, being given a gift, but the title being Santa's gift. What my friend did was he drew a very accurate Smurf in Santa's hand, and he made the flames much higher. So he's like putting a screaming Smurf into the fire. So, and he on the back it says Santa's gift, and he added to the world.
God.
So he did some very creative, artistic cards, and I miss those very much.
Wow.
Well, it could be. Yeah. And, of course, the obligatory eggnog.
Yay! Although I don't like alcohol. It's that time.
I used to
Yeah,
drink
okay.
eggnog every now and then. I don't think I would really want it now.
Well, maybe in 10 minutes. Right? Oh,
Well,
wait.
I still have 2 bottles chilling in the refrigerator as we speak.
So you like eggnog then?
Yeah, and this one is with Kentucky
Bourbon?
bourbon.
Yep.
That's where bourbon comes from.
Well,
I make my own spiked eggnog. All the stuff that you get in the stores, there's a couple of different eggnogs, and one of them has everything but the kitchen sink in it. It's got brandy and whiskey and something else in it, and it's expensive. So I end up just buying regular eggnog from the store, and I put Captain Morgan spiced rum in it,
There you go.
and it tastes
Yeah,
just
doctored
as
up.
good.
Yeah.
That works.
Like I say, I drink straight eggnog as eggnog. In fact, I get the quart and I pretty much can nurse it through the day and just finish it in a day.
The whole quart, Jeff?
The whole
Well,
queen.
not in one sitting, but as the day progresses, time for another glass. It's only a quart. It's all like I bought a gallon jug and went through that. Sometimes I can go
Have to
2 days.
put you through intervention there, Jeff.
Well, like I say, I don't put
He's
alcohol.
got an eggnog addiction.
Well, the friends I live with some have interesting ways of perceiving reality, and my friend's sister-in-law and I have one house. They have a different house, and all of the fridges are filled to the gills with stuff, mostly leftovers and stuff they're never going to use. And the thing is if they complain if we put anything of ours in the fridge, and I'm like, yeah, less than 1% of the volume that we can fit in there. We're clearly monsters. So that's another thing. I can't just buy, hey, here's my quart of eggnog for these.
Yuck. I can't. And some of the stuff that happened in the house.
Well, there's this
Well,
son
at
that
least
you look at and just go, no way. Somebody brought up a good point about Home Alone, and that is the kid is the really evil one. He could have called the police, dialed 911 at any time in that movie, and he didn't.
No.
He was torturing those guys.
But that was the fun part.
There you go. Yeah.
There's a visual effects group called Corridor Crew on YouTube, and sometimes they'll take bloodless violent stuff and they'll make it what they call R-rated. They've done that like Marvel movies where people are being beat up, but they never think. So these guys will like add the blood or whatever violence would have actually happened in that case. Well, they did Home Alone, and it was pretty grisly.
Yeah.
It was pretty hilarious because. Like when the guy gets shot in the face, you see him shot in the face.
Ooh.
All with visual effects, so they demonstrate how it was done and, using computer animation to put the bullet holes into his face and such. It was pretty grisly and funny.
So, yeah, sort of a MST. Oh, of course, and then we have to bring up Mystery Science Theater and Santa Claus versus the Martians.
Santa Claus
Santa
versus
Claus
the Martians.
and also the
gosh.
Mexican movie Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So when I saw the Mexican Santa Claus movie that would play annually at local theaters back when we actually had Saturday morning matinees for kids. So mothers could literally drop us off and it'd be like 1 or 2 kid features. And I remember seeing Santa Claus in the theaters, and I probably saw Santa Claus Conquers the Martians as well with a very young Pia Zadora.
Mm-hmm.
And
I still have the book and the DVD around here somewhere.
Wow.
Of the original one, that Santa Claus Conquers Martians book.
Huh. I have the comic book. Yeah, I have somewhere in my storage unit. I know I have the comic. My mother and I were watching a documentary on Frank Capra, and this was long before it became a Christmas staple, but they started showing a very truncated version of It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with these kind of documentaries is they'll mention the title of something once that they're going to focus on, and then they never mention the title again. So we're watching this, and we'd never seen the film. We had no knowledge of it. And by the time they get to his return thing, we were drenched in tears. And this was like 5-minute clips. And we were like, what the heck movie is this? It's killing us, even if we're only seeing a few minutes of it. And we had to track it. Fortunately, it was on PBS, so it re-aired to find out what this was. And we got the VHS or DVD, whatever it was at the time. And then all of a sudden it started catching on when stations started realizing, hey, this is public domain. We can show the daylights out of this. And yeah, that film always gets me. I love that film.
Well, the kicker to that movie, I was just reading it online somewhere, is that was right after Jimmy Stewart came back from the war.
Right.
And he was in an awful lot of raids, et cetera, and he was suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Right.
And so it was so bad, and everybody was like walking on eggshells around him during that movie. And he said it was the most cathartic thing he'd ever done, because that breakdown at the end was real.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah.
That was on Facebook. They had a thing on there that you could read it, and it was pretty interesting. Yeah, I really liked that. But I like that movie too.
I was going to say the documentary indicated that Frank Capra was not really a big fan of it because he referred to that kind of concept as Capricorn.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he just sort of like, yeah, it's a bit of fluff. He never expected it to catch on, so, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the most watched Christmas movies out there.
It is. It is. Long one too. It's not a short
Yeah, it
film.
is long.
Yes.
Well, like I said, that and the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer classic.
Yeah, the one that I like, which I say it every year, very seldom is it shown on TV. It was a Disney film, and it was called One Magic Christmas. I really liked that because it had the Christmas spirit of someone who was hating Christmas. And
I never used that trope before.
no, I mean, she was real mad. They was getting evicted out of their house and just all sorts of things going on. And it goes through, and she ends up believing her kids because they actually got to see one of the angels who was trying to make everything right, and turned out good. It was a good movie. One Magic Christmas. So
Not my
Okay, I've got a
I
question
prefer
for
the-
everybody. Does anybody else think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Oh, heck yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. No doubt.
Yeah, I think so too, and so is Gremlins.
Gremlins is
and
Gremlins
definitely.
is definitely a Christmas movie too.
Have you seen the Christmas, or somebody made a Christmas ornament where they took like a little bit of cross section of like a drain spout, and they put a photo of Bruce Willis inside to look like he's in the heating duct as a tree ornament.
Awesome.
Oh goodness.
But of course they're Christmas movies. And, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't think that they weren't. Especially
Yeah.
Gremlins.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Plus, they had the whole Gay and Wilson's exposition that stops the film in its dead in its tracks, where she talks about her dad dying in the fireplace. I'm like, yeah, we saw that Gay and Wilson cartoon. Can you move on, Joe? Come on.
But I'm sure that there's other types of movies out there that would be considered Christmas. Like I said, The Thin Man to me is a Christmas movie. The original Thin Man.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right, because it was at Christmas time.
Hmm
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
sure
not
there's
Christmas, but
there's a lot of old black and white movies that was made at Christmas or about Christmas. That was pretty good movies. It's just they don't never play them anymore, so they don't get no airtime.
well, you could find them. But
Yeah, you just have to look around for 'em.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the
Oh, the Star Wars Holiday Special.
oh no.
Yes. The one movie that really irritates the heck out of George Lucas.
I love how he pretends it never happened. And I'm like, no, sorry, we have long memories. And now it's become a collector's item. People go out of their way to get it because it's so bad.
So
I have,
just-
it on
Just,
CD,
oh,
or
man.
I have it on tape here somewhere. I have to transcribe it
so
over to DVD. 'cause-
since I know that all you have been really good this year, Did you ever get a lump of coal?
Nah. Cost money
No.
and be kind of weird and pointless to.
Bought the bag of charcoal briquettes for barbecue.
There you go.
Well, we used to have an old coal furnace, so we always had coal, but I never was bad enough to actually get a lump of coal in my stocking. However, I was probably threatened with it many times, but it never did happen.
I usually just got threatened with not getting anything at all. You know, if I wasn't good, then I would definitely not get anything, that Santa Claus wouldn't bring me anything. So I just wanted to make sure that I stayed as good as I could be, especially from like November 1st on, especially because I figured, well, if I did anything really naughty earlier in the year, maybe Santa Claus wouldn't remember, but I may have to start being good right around November 1st, because that way he would remember if I was good or bad.
Yeah, it's sort of
So
like
I made
why
sure
a
that
lot of Academy, why a lot of Academy Award winnings are later in the year than. Remember that great movie at the beginning of the year? Not really.
no.
So yeah, I understand the logic behind the he won't remember what I did in February.
Because nobody ever expects the Santa Inquisition.
Exactly.
No.
No one's going to remember that Easter incident.
Nope. Or what
Definitely
I did
not
on the
the
4th
Easter.
of July.
Or that, blackout period at St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now in Hollywood, what drives me nuts about holidays now is that neighbors who really don't care about other people's peace and quiet is they set off fireworks at all hours of the night, and the dogs are not thrilled with that. The cats are like, yeah, whatever. Whereas the dogs are like, please protect me. We don't know what that is. But yeah, I don't understand why they would do that at I can understand 4th of July and Christmas, maybe, or at least New Year's, but it just drives me crazy. I'm like, oh, here it comes. You'll start hearing a few days before. I'm like, oh, they're testing them out. Great. Ugh.
Okay.
No fireworks.
No, you don't want to do that.
Well, it was never part of Christmas.
That's what I mean.
Any festivities outside of
Something set off that star that they had to follow.
Well, it's interesting about this conjunction.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, is it only happens about every 600 years or so.
Yeah.
And not in Capricorn.
800. 800
not
years.
in Capricorn since 1600 something.
I saw two different articles I was going to link last week, and then one was saying like 1600 something, the other was saying 1223. I'm like, well, which is it?
Well, no, they're conjunct, but they're not so conjunct that they actually form one star, and then it's in what house or what sign that it's in. It hasn't been in Capricorn in a very, very, very long time, since like the 1600s. Sure. So, but they are conjunct, but the perigees aren't the same, so they don't line up so that they form one star. But they are conjunct, being farther away from each other. Because, of course, not all the planets are on one circle.
Yeah, and Saturn's not moving quite as fast as the other ones. So.
No.
So
which is farther? Is Saturn?
Saturn.
Saturn's farther than
Jupiter's bigger, but Saturn's farther.
Well, yeah. I remember one of my astrology classes, we had the telescope out, and my astronomy teacher was almost like jumping and almost doing cartwheels because some of the the Galileo moons were going across Jupiter. So he's like leaping up and down. It's occulting! It's occulting! Like,
oh, no.
Pretty sure that happens a lot.
So
happens. Yeah, I don't know what the orbit.
So I'm probably one of the oldest here, but way back when I was a child, toys were a whole lot different than what they are today. To me, the stuff that you would get back then was really stuff you could actually play with.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the stuff they get now, if it lasts a week, you're lucky.
Yeah, that and the fact that the majority of the gifts that people give their kids now are mostly electronics. You know, they give them games to play on the computer, or they give them a new computer, or they get them a new phone, or they give them a new Game Boy, or a new Nintendo, that sort of thing. And for us, you know, I was really thrilled one year when I got one of those mousetrap games. I had asked for it, and I didn't know if I was going to get it or not, but I got it and absolutely loved playing it. And of course, we had, what was it, Operation, where you zapped yourself all the time trying to take these things out of a naked man, which really never made any sense to me, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And you would get and you would get regular board games, you know, like Monopoly and Parcheesi, dominoes and things like that, and that way the whole family could play them. But we would get them, and playing cards like Old Maid or Authors and things like that to play on our own. And of course, girls, we got different dolls. We had plastic kitchen things, you know, little, was it the Easy Bake ovens, but we also just had entire
a lot of trees and the little
there was two. This wasn't going to go over.
Well, Mr. Potato Head thing,
and they would do. They were the same size as my proper GI Joes back when GI Joe was actually a 12 motion, and then.
I kept thinking, well, maybe eventually they kind of went out the longest time.
Up in New Jersey,
further actually closer to
the last time I was there, their store that only there was
we'll all have
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, was a Christmas movie.
Right.
The weapon.
Just I know, so I'm ready for Christmas.
Murray.
Used to be the log lady one.
So, are you looking for your Christmas peeps?
There are no Christmas peeps.
No Christmas peeps? Oh, that's
because
bad.
of COVID.
I didn't see any questions come in from the chat room, but our time has generally just almost run on out. We're down to like 2 minutes. Is there any particular thing you guys want to throw out there real quick, or questions you wanted to ask or anything?
Well, maybe next next week we talk about Yule, the original reason for the season.
That's what our guest is going to be talking about. Yule and Christmas, and
everybody, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was literally going to say that.
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about the Yule log, so it'd be good to have that cleared up.
Yeah, I don't
well,
even.
Back in New York,
I haven't even seen any of those out this year.
Yule logs?
Yeah.
I am also
good. You've been listening to the Paranormal View on the ParaX Radio Network. Join us again next week at the same time for more of the Paranormal View.